related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover this in the podcast, like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Talked about all the other things coming out of this, but the other issue as we come into this fourth quarter, talking about the fact is the SWAC football television announcement. 23 of the 26 games will be live in terms of actual SWAC games. That's in addition to the non-conference. SWAC games, if you would. So it's fascinating in terms of what that looks like. So I want to get your thoughts in terms of this robust schedule. It's my understanding that there may be some programs outside of the SWAC still in the works. As this is all the games. This is the ESPN package of games, obviously. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know, as a fan of HBCU football, I get a chance to put my eyeballs on as many SWAC games as possible. And I think that's fun. I mean, Doc, we've often joked about we're watching so much HBCU ball now on ESPN3 or the ESPN family of networks that I completely forget that there's an SEC going on. I completely forget that there's a Big 12 going on because I finally get an opportunity to put my eyeballs on teams that I haven't been able to consistently watch. So, you know, it's really exciting. And I mean, things kick off week 0 with Alcorn taking on North Carolina Central, the MEAC SWAC Challenge. You take a look at games that'll be highlighted: Labor Day Classic, Prairie View and Texas Southern, Magic City Classic, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Florida Classic, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M. But there's a bevy of games week to week, either live or through the tape delay process that I'll get an opportunity to put my eyes on. Looking forward to a lot of them. Jackson State, Florida A&M on ESPN2. Grambling at USM is another one that, just because I'm a Mississippian, now let me see what Grambling does against USM. So it's a lot of fun games that are sitting out there that I'll get an opportunity to keep my eyes on. And it's going to be some fun stuff. Alabama A&M, Bethune-Cookman, I get an opportunity to see whether that Bethune-Cookman defense can handle Aqeel Glass and the Air Force of receivers that he has. So it's going to be a lot of fun week to week.
Yeah, that's a great point when you talk about how much fun it is. What are some of the games? I mean, I know you tease some of those games specifically in regards to ESPN2, also a non-conference game that you mentioned that involves a Mississippi historically white college, which is a matchup against the FBS program, which is always intriguing for that reason. But in terms of the conference matchups, anything of these matchups that kind of jump out at you that you like, yeah, I got to find a way, whether I'm at my own game in the stadium, watching it on my streaming platform, or if that's one of the days that I'll be taking off and watching multiple games on television. What are some games and or a weekend, or you can talk about both, that really jumps out at you in regards to the SWAC conference schedule of the television game?
I'm always excited when the season starts off. So I'll be excited to watch Alcorn and North Carolina Central, two teams that we didn't get an opportunity to see in the spring. So that jumps things off for me.
I like the fact that you pointed that out. That's a great point when you talk about the fact that we didn't get to see these teams most recently.
Right.
Central pretty much early said that they were not going to participate in the spring. And then obviously you had the buzz coming out of the SWAC with Alcorn being the previous 2019 champs, deciding that they were not going to participate in the spring. So I like that you brought that to the table. That is fascinating and provides a little more tease for literally that week 0, the first FCS matchup in a lot of ways, certainly the first HBCU matchup of teams that features, in this case, the team coming out of the SWAC versus the team coming out of MEAC. Great catch when you brought that out. I had to buzz and put a little stamp on that. That resonated with me a little bit. You were about to say some other games that really...
Yeah, I mean, as I go through September, obviously, Jackson State, Florida A&M, these blue blood programs, they get to knock heads September 5th. I skip down to September 23rd. Alcorn visits UAPB. Alcorn fans will tell you in a heartbeat, UAPB ascended because we weren't there. So that will be a very interesting matchup. Two left-handers, Skylar Perry versus Felix Harper, both with dynamic offenses who can get those defensive stops. So September 23rd is a game that jumped out at me. Bethune-Cookman versus Alabama State, September 25th. That'll be a pretty good one over there in the SWAC East because, again, taking a look, you want to get as many Bethune-Cookman games under your belt to kind of see what this team has. And that'll be a stern test against Alabama State. I skip to October. Obviously, this is a game that's going to have some implications down the line. Jackson State versus Alabama A&M. Connie Almeida, Coach Sanders, That's going to be a great game. Jackson State is looking for a little bit of payback against Alabama A&M for that 52 piece they put on them in the spring. Taking a look at the rest of October, Grambling versus Alcorn is a traditional rivalry for me, and it's one of those games that from my childhood.
Recording in progress.
You tend to remember, how they would kick off the SWAC season. So Grambling Alcorn is a game that jumps out at me, and it's over there in the SWAC West now. So who knows what could be going on within October. This game probably has some implications. Grambling versus Florida A&M, another good one that jumps out at me. Magic City Classic, obviously. Prairie View at Southern. Over the years, Prairie View has had issues getting over that Southern hump. Now they go to Baton Rouge to take on Southern. That'll be a very good one on October 23rd. So that's another good one. I skipped down. I looked around at November. Jackson State had Southern. That's going to be a heck of a game. November 6th, Florida A&M at Southern. That's going to be a heck of a game. Let me go back. Last day of October, October 30th. Alcorn at Southern. Always a great matchup. So it's a bevy of games as I keep going down. It's almost hard to stop at one, but those are games that really jump out that really ought to be, some really, really good content.
Great points you're making there. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out of the studio on assignment. So I have Charles Bishop jumping in here. And as you schedule for the SWAC, as we talk about 23 of the 26 games in a lot of ways are the conference games. And of those 26 conference games, 23, as I said, are going to be broadcast live on television. 3 of them are tape delayed. You mentioning and focus on also some of the excitement in terms of the non-conference games to make this robust. The other thing that's interesting to me is that's not all the games. So it'll be interesting to see as we hear that there is a goal to about getting more games on television. Will that be about the SWAC digital network, or will that be in regards to other outlets getting an opportunity to broadcast these games? As we move from the broadcasting television, I wanted to opine on some things. So if you allow me to jump on this, obviously you can resonate with it, but wanted to get a little chance to get this off my chest a little bit because it just didn't sit right. The first thing in a lot of ways was in regards to Dr. Thomas and his retirement and how they came on the same day of the SWAC news. And not so much about his retirement, because he certainly has the need and he's done such great work to do that.